sharpened. Replace cracked blades and sharpen the blunt blades. Always unplug the saw to make adjustments or to change blades. Place the electrical cord in a manner so it does not entangle with the work. Support the material you're going to cut. Support thin materials near the cut. Clamp small pieces to a sturdy base before cutting. Hold the saw with the hand grip and secondary handle. Make sure the saw blade has stopped rotating before putting the saw down. Do not overreach and lose your balance when using the portable circular saw. For long straight cuts, a guide can be clamped to the material and the saw base can be pushed along the guide. The electric router is one of the most versatile electric tools available to a carpenter. It has outranked a whole family of molding, grooving and rebating planes. In this session, you will learn how to use an electric router. After completing the session, you will be able to identify the electric router, use the electric router, observe precautions while using the electric router. Routers are capable of a wider range of work than most other tools. They carry out cutting and shaping operations with equal efficiency. It is the simplest of all power tools. You will notice that it contains an electric motor. It drives the router bit that does all the cutting. Different bits are used for different purposes. The shank of a router bit fits into a tapered collet. An electric router has two ergonomic handles for steering the tool along the intended path. Let us look at the working of a portable router. Step 1. Install the router bit in the collet. Choose the bit for the design you desire to give the cut width and install the bit in the collet and tighten the assembly on the router head. Step 2. Adjust the depth of your cut. Adjust the gauge nut on the side for the depth of cut you need on the wooden piece. After you raise the side threaded nut, press the base down to that level and lock it with the clip provided. Step 3. Fix the wooden panel to the base. fasten a piece of wood over the base to support the router and prevent it from wobbling when it is at work. Fix another half panel over it so that the router blade is aligned perfectly and runs on the edge of your workpiece to give the desired cut. Step 4. Support your workpiece. Support your workpiece on the workbench to prevent it from slipping. Step 5. Plug in the router and start cutting. Then plug in the router and hold the machine by its handles with both hands. Place the router up against the edge of the wooden member to be cut. Pull the trigger and advance the router into the wood. Move the router from the left side of the wood and work your way towards the right. Make multiple passes on deep cuts, shaving off a small amount of wood each time rather than cutting too deeply. This not only prevents burning of the cutting bit, but also helps you avoid the risk of deep gashes. Move the router in a smooth flowing manner. Avoid quick, jerky movements. Keep the router moving and do not switch it off until after you have lifted the bit clear of your workpiece. Use other bits to cut profile edges with a router following the same procedure. Let's quickly look at the procedure once again. Step 1. Install the router bit in the collet. Step 2. Adjust the depth of your cut. Step 3. Fix the wooden panel to the base. Step 4. Support your workpiece. Step 5. Plug in the router and start cutting. Use the electric router to its fullest advantage by following these safety tips. Do not wear loose clothing while operating a router. Wear safety glasses and a dust mask when working with the router. Always clamp wood to a sturdy surface when you use a power planner. Make sure that the router is well supported. You can even use jigs and personalized templates for shaped work. Make sure that the router is unplugged when changing bits. Make sure the router is switched off before connecting the power supply. Always use a sharp router bit for clean edges. Make sure the router bit is not in contact with the wood before turning the switch on. Keep the electric cord clear of the workpiece. You can lock the trigger button to work for an extended time without having to hold your hand on the button. Never operate electric routers on moist wood. It is time to polish your carpentry skills and create something of use at the same time. A basics tool is something you will find being used everywhere, like homes, offices, factories, workshop, etc. So, are we ready to learn how to make it? In this session, you will learn to create a basics tool. After completing this session, you will be able to estimate the material required for a basics tool, construct a basics tool as per the drawing. Now that we are ready with the tools and materials required, let's construct the basics tool. Step 1. Select the side free from blemishes and knots. Use a handsaw and cut the wood to the required size. Use a jack plane to plane the face side and face edge flat. Use a tri-square to check if the edges are cut square. Mark them as the face side and face edge. Smoothen it further by using a smoothing plane. All other measurements must be taken from either face side or face edge. Step 2. For making the stool, you will need to cut out the legs, top and bottom rails, and the top for the stool. First, mark out the pieces for the leg, according to the dimensions mentioned in the work drawing. Leaving a gap from the top and bottom edge, measure and mark the points for the mortise grooves on the leg piece. Take a pencil and tri-square and mark the points of the width. Set a mortise gauge to the required width from the edge and scribe a line along the face side to the required length on the top and bottom edge. This will determine the mortise groove for the top and bottom rails on the leg. Step 3. Similarly, mark the layout for the tenons onto the top and bottom rails according to the required dimensions. Measure and mark the points for the tenons with a pencil and tri-square on both the edges. With the tri-square, draw perpendicular lines on both the faces of the piece for the length of the tenon. Set the marking gauge and scribe a line right on the center of the edge for the thickness of the tenon. Step 4. When you are ready with markings, secure the leg piece on the workbench with a G-clamp. Take a mortise chisel and wooden mallet and chisel out a 25 mm deep mortise. Remember to keep the mortise edges inside the depth clean and sharp, as the tenon will not be a perfect fit if the edges are rough. Use the same process for carving out all the mortise grooves on the leg piece on the top and bottom. Step 5. When you are ready with your mortises, now cut out the tenon on the top and bottom rails. Hold the rail with one hand and cut out the tenon along the marked lines till the scribed lines with a handsaw. Secure the rail piece onto the workbench with a G-clamp and chisel out the remaining waste wood. Remember to keep the tenon edges clean and sharp, as it will not fit perfectly into the mortise if the edges are rough. In the same way, carve out the tenons on both the sides. Check if the tenon and mortise joints fit in perfectly into each other. Similarly, go ahead and cut out all the 4 legs with the mortise grooves and the 4 top and bottom rails with the tenons to erect your stool. When you are done with all the parts, keep them arranged like this to enable you to identify them easily while assembling. Step 6. Before assembling all the parts together, it is advisable to dry fit the components once to ensure that the tenon and mortise joints have a perfect fit. Step 7. Once you are satisfied with the fit, reassemble it by applying adhesive to the joining parts. Apply adhesive to all the tenons and into the mortise grooves with a brush. Ensure you apply them evenly all over the joining parts. First fit in the two legs with the top and bottom rails and clamp it to the T-bar clamp to apply pressure to strengthen while the glue dries up. Ensure they are properly aligned with the tri-square. Drill some holes onto the joints and insert the dowel pins into them to strengthen and lock the joints further. Do it on all sides of all the joints. When done, cut out the extra dowel pin heads with a chisel. Similarly, join the other two legs in the same manner. And when you are ready, we will have two sets of legs attached, the front and the back legs. Now take any one set of legs and go ahead and apply adhesive into the mortise groove and the top and bottom rail tenons and fix them. This would be the sides of your stool. Then apply adhesive into the grooves of the other set and place it on top of them and tap lightly with a mallet to fix and align it properly. Fix it with a T-bar clamp to apply pressure on the joints till the glue dries. Check if they are properly aligned with the tri-square. Then drill the holes and insert the dowel pins into them. Do it on all the sides of the joints. Once you have fit all these parts together, you will find that the base of your stool is ready. Wipe away excess glue and smoothen the joints where the dowel pins were inserted with a smoothing plane. Now the base of your stool is ready. We need to give it a top for the seat. Step 8. Finally, mark the layout for the stool top. Take a 19 mm thick plywood, measure and mark the length and width and cut it according to the dimensions mentioned in the table above. Now, here is a tip from the carpenter to align the top perfectly, which would otherwise be a big hassle to match the base of the stool. Here's how. Leave a gap of about 1.5 inch from the edge. Scribe a line on the piece on the top and bottom sides. Drive in 2 wire nails halfway through on the marked lines, on each side at one of the corner point and 2 on the middle of each side. This will help you to align the top right at the middle of the base, leaving equal gaps on all the side edges. Keeping the nails downward, hold the piece so that the nails at the corner are hooked onto the corner of the base, and the other 2 nails on each side will give you the perfect placement for your top seat onto the base. Then hammer in some nails from the top all the way in onto the corners and sides. You have now fixed the top of the stool. Now cut a laminate sheet of similar size and paste it on the face of the top seat. Apply some glue on both the surfaces onto the top of the ply and back of the laminate and paste it. Clamp them with a G-clamp and apply some masking tape on the edges on all sides and leave it to dry. Step 9. Your basics tool is now ready. There's just one thing left to be done. Some finishing touches. Fix some beading or moldings on the edge of the top seat so that they cover the rough edges of the ply and the laminate and give a decent look as well. Take some beading strips and cut them to size. Ensure that you give the corner edge a 45-degree miter cut so that when joined, they are perfectly aligned at the corners. Nail in some wire nails halfway through and apply some glue on it and paste it on the edge of the top seat. Then hammer the nails all the way in. Fix them on all the 4 sides. While fixing the strips, ensure that the corner joints are perfectly aligned. Smoothen the surface with a smoothing plane or the shape you desire. We have given a half rounding edge, which is the basic style. When done, take a sandpaper and sand down all the rough edges to achieve a smooth and even surface. You can even apply polish or stain them as desired. You can sketch your own unique design and make a basics tool of your own, and at the same time, practice your cutting, chiseling and joint making techniques. Let's quickly look at the procedure once again. Step 1. Cut and smoothen the wood to size. Step 2. Mark the mortise lines. Step 3. Mark the tenon lines. Step 4. Carve out the mortise. Step 5. Cut out the tenons. Step 6. Dry fit the stool. Step 7. Assemble the components with glue. Step 8. Cut out the top and fix it on the base. Step 9. Give the finishing touch. It is time to do some more work to improve your carpentry skills and create some more furniture designs. A drawer unit is mostly used in offices and kept under the workstations. It is also used at home as a dressing or bedside table. In this session, you will learn to create a basic drawer unit. After completing this session, you will be able to estimate the material required for a drawer unit, construct a drawer unit as per the drawing. You must prepare the cutting list before you buy the material to construct a drawer unit. A cutting list must specify the length, width, and thickness of the wood. Here we are using a plywood of dimensions 1800 into 900 into 12 to 19 millimeters. The list should also state the tools required to make the workpiece. In order to make a drawer unit, you will need a steel ruler, a measuring tape, a pencil, a marking gauge, a mortise gauge, a cutting gauge, a tri-square, a hand saw, a jack plane, a smoothing plane, a mortise chisel, a firmer chisel, a wooden mallet, a T-bar clamp, a G-clamp, a hammer, a power drill, a pincer, some wire nails, a sandpaper, some adhesives, and 3 handles. Start by carefully examining the work drawing for dimensions and design of the drawer unit. You can use any plywood for constructing a drawer unit. Inspect the wood to make sure it's free of flaws like knots and other defects. Now that the preparation's done, it's time to get started on your workpiece. For making the drawer unit, you will need to prepare it in 2 parts. First, the outer box followed by the drawers next. We start by preparing the box first, as it would be easier to work on the drawers accordingly. Step 1. Take a pencil and measuring tape and mark out the length and the width for the side panel. Use a hand saw and bring the wood to the requisite size. Secure the wooden piece firmly to the bench-wise and use a jack plane to plane the face edge flat. Check the trueness with a tri-square. If required, smoothen it further till it is to the desired flatness. Mark the face side and the face edge. Similarly, cut the other side, top and bottom panels in the same fashion and mark the face side and the face edge. Step 2. We will make this outer box of the drawer unit by using a dovetail joint. Now let's prepare the layout for the dovetail joints on the panels. Fix the top and bottom panels together with some wire nails so that the dovetail layout is similar on both the panels. Measure and mark the points for the length of the tails on both the edges. Set the marking gauge to the required depth from the edge and scribe a line along the face side till the required length on both the edges. This will be the base line. Secure the panel to the bench-wise and with a measuring tape mark out the points for the width of the tails. Use a tri-square and pencil to draw the taper lines from both the width points. In all, we would have 2 tails. Once the layout has been marked, Start cutting out the tails along the waist side of the cutting lines using a hand saw till the baseline. Reset the workpiece on the vise horizontally and trim the wood from both the corner edges. Do it for both the sides. Then fix the panel onto the workbench with a G-clamp and place a piece of scrap wood underneath the clamp jaw to protect the workpiece. Trim down the tails using a bevel-edge chisel and clean up the excess wood. There, you have the top and bottom panels ready with the tails for the dovetail joints. Step 3. Once tails are cut, mark out the pins by using the tail member as a template. Place the tail member on the side panels and mark the layout for the pins. Redefine the markings clearly on it. Once the layout has been marked, secure the wood on the bench vise and start cutting out the pins along the waist side of the cutting lines using a hand saw. Cut out all the outlines carefully, staying within the scored lines from both sides. Then fix the panel onto the workbench with a G-clamp and remove the waste wood with a chisel and mallet. Clean out the pieces until they are smooth and flat. Step 4. Always remember, before assembling with glue, it is advisable to test fit the dovetail joints once to ensure that you have a perfect fit. So, now you are ready with all the components to assemble the outer box. Apply glue to the tails, sockets and the pins and fix one edge at a time. Type lightly with a mallet to fix the tails and pins into the sockets. When done, wipe away the excess glue with a damp cloth. Similarly, fix the other panel of the outer box. When done, hammer in some wire nails on all the joints to further strengthen it. Smoothen the edges with a bench plane. Check the trueness with a tri-square. Now measure the length and the width of the box from edge to edge. Cut a 3mm plywood to the size and fix it with some wire nails on the edge. This will be the back side of the drawer unit. Step 5. Now cut out 6 strips of equal length, a little shorter than that of the depth of the outer box. When done, measure and divide the box into 3 equal parts by marking guidelines for the drawer holders to be fixed. Fix 2 strips on the marked guidelines, one above the other, leaving a gap of 1 strip in between. Similarly, fix the other set of strips in the same manner on both the side panels. This will be the groove to hold the drawers in place and for sliding in and out. Your drawer unit is now ready. There's just one thing left to be done. Paste laminates. Step 6. Before you begin pasting, ensure that the edges and surface are smooth and even. Measure the panels of the outer box and cut laminate sheets of similar size with the help of a cutting knife. Ensure that they are of the exact size that of the panels. Ensure that they are of the exact size that of the panels. Smoothen the rough edges of the laminates before pasting, so they are aligned seamlessly. Apply glue on both the surfaces of the laminate and the box, and paste it on each of the panels one by one. Apply even pressure all over to remove any air bubbles and secure it with masking tapes on all sides and leave it till the glue dries up. Ensure that all the edges of the pasted laminates are seamlessly aligned. You have now completed the outer box of the drawer unit. Now that the outer box is ready, we need to prepare the drawers. Making the drawers is almost similar to that of the outer box. Here, only its size would vary. We will prepare 3 drawers to fit into the outer box. Step 1. Join the 2 similar panels together, front, back, and the 2 side panels with wire nails. Secure them to the bench vise and smoothen the edges flat. Check its trueness with a tri-square. If required, smoothen it further till they are to the desired flatness. Mark the face side and the face edge when done. Step 2. Here also we will use a dovetail joint to construct the drawer. Let's prepare the layout for the dovetail joints on the panels. Measure and mark the length and the depth for the tails and the pins on both the edges of the panels. once the layout has been marked. Secure the panel to the bench vise. Start cutting along the waist side of the cutting lines using a hand saw till the baseline. Then fix the panel onto the workbench with a G-clamp and trim down and clean up the excess wood for the sockets. Similarly, repeat the same procedure on the other panel to cut out the pins. There, you have the front, back and side panels ready with the dovetail joint. Step 3. Keep in mind, before you apply glue, test fit the dovetail joints once to ensure that you have a perfect fit. Apply glue to the tails, sockets and the pins and fix the side panel to the front panel. Tap them lightly to fix the tails and pins into the sockets. Then, similarly, fix all the other panels in the same fashion. Once done, hammer in some wire nails on all the joints to further strengthen it. Wipe away the excess glue with a damp cloth. Mark the extra edges of the tails and the pins and trim them down with a saw from all the side edges. Punch in the heads of the nails with the nail punch. Smoothen the edges with a bench plane Now measure the length and the width of the box from edge to edge and cut a 3 mm plywood of that size. Apply glue on the side edges of the drawer. Place the plywood on it and fix it with some wire nails. Ensure it is aligned with the edges. This will be the underside of the drawer. Wipe away excess glue with a damp cloth. Once again, smoothen the rough edges from the underside with a bench plane. Now the drawer is assembled. You need to work on the front face of the drawer. Measure the width and the height and cut 2 beading strips of each of that size and give the edges a miter cut for the corner joint. Apply glue on the outer edge and fix the beading strips with wire nails. Ensure the corners are aligned at 90 degrees angle. Set the marking gauge to the edge of the side panel and scribe a line on the center and fix a strip on both the side panels. This will be the slider for the drawers. Punch in the head of the nails with a nail punch. Measure and mark the points on the edge of the strip on the front of the drawer and set the marking gauge accordingly to the edge and scribe a line all around the top and side edge. With a rebate plane, shave the edges along the scribed lines to get a groove on all the sides. One single drawer is ready now. Similarly, repeat the same procedure and make the other two drawers for the unit to be complete. When done, you will have all these components ready for the drawer unit. Step 4. When done, you will apply the front face of the drawers with the same laminates as applied to the outer box. Cut the laminate piece exactly to the size of the front face. and apply glue on its back side and on the face of the drawer. Fix the laminate over and apply pressure on the edges and all over it to remove any air bubbles, and paste some masking tapes all over the edges and leave it to dry. Once done, remove the tape and smoothen the edges with a rebate plane. Similarly, do it for the other two drawers. Step 5. Measure and mark the points on the center of the front face of the drawer and drill 2 holes with a power drill. Now place the handle on the front face over the drilled holes and fix the screw from the inside of the drawer. Tighten it with a screwdriver. Similarly, fix the handles on the other drawers. Let's quickly look into the procedure once again.
Now coming to the soul of the arbitral proceedings, which is Indian Contract Act 1872. To begin with, Indian Contract Act 1872, first we have to understand what is the formation of contract. Section 7 deals with formation of contract and says that acceptance